Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to show you how to build a professional one-page link website using Nextr as an alternative to Linktree. If you are a social media influencer, a creator, or an online business owner, we can show you how to create a custom branded link page that you own and control. Okay, so here we are on WordPress, and I suppose the biggest question for this video is, why would I want to use WordPress over Linktree when I can get Linktree for free? Well, Linktree is free until you get the paid versions. And for a similar price to the paid versions, you can get yourself a domain and install WordPress on it and download a free theme like Nextr, for example. And with the paid versions of Linktree, you get some cool features, that's for sure, and it's easy to use if you're already using the free version. But once you factor in all the costs, you might as well go ahead with WordPress as an alternative, and not only will you have your link website, you'll also be able to use it as an ordinary website if you want to or choose to do so once you grow your brand. So here we are on the WordPress dashboard. It should look the same basically for every single WordPress theme. Now, let's talk about some things, basic things if you're new to WordPress, but similarly or alternatively, you can go ahead and check out all of our other videos, starting out with installing an extra theme, installing plugins, what all of this is, what the hell are pages, what are posts. So first off, we're going to be using the Nextr theme. So we already have it installed under Appearance and Themes. If you click on these, you'll see that we have Nextr installed. We have the Nextr extension installed and activated as well as the Nextr blocks. Okay, we have videos talking about getting started with Nextr, so don't worry about getting up to speed. So since we want to make a one-page link website, we're going to go ahead and start from the dashboard and click on, well, hover over pages and click on add page. Okay, and here we will enter the WordPress block editor. This is called the Gutenberg block editor, and you're going to see what are blocks in a short while if you don't know what they are. Right, so first and foremost, let's start this out with link website front page. Okay, this is just a title to keep things organized. This won't actually appear once our website is live. So let's go ahead and click on Publish over here, and down here there's these three dots. Let's go ahead and click on Set as Homepage. Okay, and this is now our homepage. So if we were to go to our URL over here, right, you can see that, well, this has already been set up on another part of the website, and you can see it's totally blank because this is totally blank. Now, one thing with getting your domain over using Linktree, for example, is you have your own domain. So rather than having link.tre, I think was what it is, or whatever it is, and then your username, you'll actually have your brand.com, .net, .org, or whatever you want, right? .gg, .io. So let's have a quick look first at how to use the WordPress block editor and the advantages of using Nextr blocks. Okay, so here we have our area, right? We can type some stuff over here, right? And you can see that it is a paragraph. We can change the text color. We can change the background color. We can change the typography size. And that's pretty good. And you can see that over here we have this black icon over here. Let's start with the left going to the right, a bit different from our usual videos. And you can see here we have our block inserter. And you can see our Nextr blocks over here, and they have blue icons. If you scroll down far enough, you will find the ones with the black icons, and these are just the default WordPress ones, right? Here it is. And if we were to search for paragraph with a blue icon, you can see this one is a Nextr one. So let's click on Design from Scratch, and you can see automatically it has some predefined text. And you can see that there are so much more options as compared to just the default WordPress one. So this is a plus for getting a third-party theme or block library over just the default WordPress one. You can get away with using the default WordPress one, but we're going to use this to our advantage. And you can see we can just like delete this or type. Oops. Yeah, let's go ahead. Type in our own text and then edit it as we please, as you can see. And we can change up how our alignment looks like, how many columns we have. We can change the title. We can remove the title completely. We can change typographies. We can change fonts over here, right? Times New Roman if we wanted to. And you can go ahead and delete that and change the colors of these as well. Okay, so those are our blocks, the default WordPress ones and the Nextr ones. And let's go ahead and take a look at all of these options over here on the top from right to left now. So we have these preferences over here. Don't worry about these until you actually want to. We have our save and our publish buttons over here. Our Nextr customizer settings, so these are just presets for colors and fonts. We have our settings over here, which we have our information about our page. And we have settings for our block, which you've seen. We can change our view from desktop, tablet, and or mobile, or preview this in a new tab. We can also view our live page. We have our some commands and settings we can search over here. Copy paste settings, document overview, and you can see that this one by default has a paragraph, and if you deleted that, it'll just stay because that's just how this works. Our undo and redo buttons, and let's go ahead and make our one-page link website from scratch. So let's start off with what we'll find on a typical Linktree type website. So usually it has a profile picture, somebody's username handle, like they're at, a bunch of links, and then maybe some social media icons at the bottom. So let's start off with dragging and dropping an image block from Nextr onto our work area here, right? It's that simple, just drag and drop or click on it. And let's go ahead and upload an image. Now we can either upload files from our computer, right? You probably already know how to do this if you are watching this video, or we already have some pictures downloaded and installed or uploaded to our media library. Let's go ahead and click on that. And we can change our size to probably thumbnail. We can align it to the middle. And under style, we can change the maximum width, right? So percent, we can probably have this to be probably 100% should be fine. Maximum width, maximum height. We can add filters to it if we wanted to. We can add a border radius, right? So we can put 100% on that. And you can see we rounded it out just like how most Linktree ones are, right? And you can customize it too. So if you didn't want it to be 100% border radius, you can have it be 50% border radius or 5, right? And you can have it just be a square one like that. And this is what this is an example of flexibility that you'll get from making your own website. And it's hopefully it seems easy for you. And down here we have caption. So we can attach a caption or enable a custom caption. And there we go. And that's basically it. And we can add a link to this, right? So we can paste a link to this, like our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or whatever. And then once somebody clicks on this, it's going to take them to our site. And over down here, we have our caption settings. And you can also change our caption alignment. We can change the typography for our caption. So let's say, again, we wanted to use Times New Roman. We can change the font size, and it scales proportionally to our profile picture there. We can also change the color of our little at down there. We can change the spacing as well, right? How far we want it from our image. We can add text shadow. We can also put a background color to this, as you can see, right? We can also change the hue or something like this. Probably, there you go. It's readily seen. So that's that for image. How about the links themselves? Now, there's a few options you could do, and if you wanted to, you can use an advanced button, right? Design from scratch, and there's a few different choices to choose from over here. And if we wanted to, we can go over to spacing or style or some option over here, right? You can change the icon spacing to make it wider, or under position, we can change the width, so we can make it 100% width, or smaller or bigger, make it inline, and you can put your links over there, right? You could just use the paragraph and add that manually, but one cool thing is we can go ahead and use this block called stylish list, right? And there's some templates you can use, but for this video, let's design from scratch. And you can see we have list items over here. So under layout, right, on the first tab here, we have our list content. And we can, well, importantly, what makes it easy to use is we can duplicate these, or we can delete them, right? We can also drag and drop them around, and you can see that they go and change instantaneously. We can even add a new item and then add and drag and drop that where we want. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at customizing one of these. So let's say YouTube, okay, or our YouTube channel. And we'll put youtube.com over here. And then we can add an icon, right? Or an image, depending on what you want, right? So that's some cool flexibility that you get. You're not limited to just emojis and stuff. You can actually use images, right? So if we wanted to upload an image here from our media library, if we can find one, let's go ahead and use this one. We can use that as our icon, and you can see it's right there, right? Or we can just go ahead and use one of the default icons that comes with it, right? Font Awesome and dash icons. And just go ahead and search YouTube, and it gives us some, already has some YouTube icons pre-selected, right? And we can put our URL over here. We can open it in a new window, youtube.com, okay? And once you click that, it should, let's go ahead and save this and take a look real quick. You view this in a new page, okay? And we'll fix this in a bit. YouTube channel, and it's going to take us to YouTube. Perfect. So with this, let's go ahead and change the image size, or it should probably be width, pixel, maximum width 100, save. And let's reload this, and it should be no more than 100 pixels wide. Okay, perfect. If you wanted to preview this, now this is something that most people will probably want to do with a Linktree type website, is preview it on mobile, and this is how it's going to look like on your mobile devices. And you can edit it like this. Alternatively, you could also, as you can see here, we have our maximum width in pixels for phone and for desktop. So for the phone, we can have it be a certain size, right? And then when we head over to our desktop, it's going to be a bit smaller based on that. So these are called responsive options, and you can customize how these things look like depending on the device that you are using to make it a bit of an easier user experience, or much more pretty user experience for your users depending on which device you're using, right? So that's total control. Okay, so let's say we want to move our YouTube channel down here, Okay, that works, but we're not yet done there. So we have our icon over here, right? And there's some other options that we can put here. We can put a hint. This sends you to, right? And this is like a cool little tooltip. Well, a little hint actually as to what it is, right? You can change the color and the color of this, right? Or be sure to. And we have our tooltip over here, right? And we can add our content here. So if we hover over here, it gives us our tooltip text. And we can change the color of our text over here, and we can change the typography as well, right? Change the font. Let's change this to times 0 so you can see. And that's basically it. So if we wanted to change now the icon colors, right? We can change them to white or black or red or blue, right? And if you wanted to, again, you could go ahead and use a different list for these or use your own images, right? So for the once we're done with these, right, we can also enable read more, right? If you wanted to show less options, but typically you don't need to do that for a Linktree website since you want everything's just going to be on one page. And then we have ever interactive links and hover inverse over all of these. And these are just like cool effects that you can put on there. And under style, we can change the spacing. We can change the separator color, and you'll see what that is. And we can change the alignment as well. Again, you've seen our icon color, icon size, icon image, well, image size, right? We can change the style. We can change the width of these. We can put a border around them if we wanted to. We can change the icon background color if we wanted to. And then for the content, we can change how much it's indented. We can change the color of the typography over here, right? So there you go. We can change the color of our text here. And then when we hover over it, we can change it to a different color too. Okay, we can add padding, border radius. We can add a background to each one of these, but the background will be for all of them. Okay, and then for hint text, again, typography, alignment, box shadow, you name it. Okay, and the same with our tooltips over here. So let's go ahead and populate the rest of these. And as you can see, we have our links over there. Let's go and click on Save and take a look at how this looks like on our live site. Okay, and it's looking a bit more professional. And what we might want to do is add some, let's say, a separator, a spacer over here. And then let's change up the height. Save it. And take a look at how it looks like again. And you're going to have to go back and forth because not everything as it appears here in our editor will appear exactly the same way as in our live website. Okay, so we might want to go over here under Style, change the spacing in between. For the content, we might want to change the indentation as well, change the alignment, so on and so forth. For the spacing of this, we might want to reduce it a little bit. And it should look a bit better once we made our small adjustments. There you go. And last but not least, let's go ahead and add in our social media links. So social icons over here, right? And as you can see, we can basically just add our YouTube channel over here, our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter. But here we have some options. Now, some of them are a bit nicer to look at than others, but again, it's all subjective and it's up to you which one you want. So probably we'll go with these ones, and just like the list, we can insert them right here, and we can customize them right here, and we can drag and drop where we want these. So there's a few default ones, right? We can use custom and then add our own custom icon or image, right, if it isn't in the list. But for example, we have our Spotify over here. Actually, do they have Vine? Unfortunately not, but they still do have Skype. Rest in peace. And we can change our Spotify. We can change the icon color here to, I think it's green, right? And that's basically it. And you can over here, there you go. And let's click on save and see how this one looks like. And it's pretty self-explanatory as to all of these, right? Style, icon gap, and basically the same thing. And once we reload our site, you can see here it's a bit squished in, so we might want to add a spacer as well. And save that. And reload our site here. And there you go. Okay. How does it look like when we add in, we'll factor in the mobile theme? Let's go ahead and hit F12 on our keyboards. And you'll see over here, toggle device toolbar, which is Control-Shift-M. Right click on that. And this is how it's going to look like. Oops. This is how it's going to look like when we use our phones. So as you can see, well, don't mind this top toolbar, because this is what you'll see from the back end. That is, if you were the user, the admin for the website. So this is all you'll see, right? We have our header and stuff over here. So don't worry about that. And you can see, just like every single Linktree website, we have our profile picture here, our @ or handle, or whatever we want to call it, our links here, right? And they work. And we have our social media links as well down here. And you can add as many as you want, right? You can add as many as you want. If we went down here and add an item, add an item, add an item, add an item, save, and it's virtually limitless, right? You might wonder what this is. Let's go ahead and enter our homepage and go under Appearance, Customize. Okay. And down here, you will find Site Identity. We can go ahead and just remove those. Click on Publish, and those should go away for us. Okay, perfect. Now, sure, it looks the way it does. We can add a background image to our site if we wanted to, or background colors. So let's go ahead and click on X over here, and let's go ahead and go to our, well, either here or from here. Let's go back here. We can edit our page, and it's going to return us back to our block editor area for this page in particular. And if I clicked on this block, right, I can add a background color to this whole thing. If I want, I make gray. And then for everything, well, actually that doesn't look too good. Let's go ahead and change the background to something else, right? You can have it be that or that. Something like this, maybe a bit beige or yellowish. Make it stand out a little bit. Okay, click on Save. All right, and once that's on saving, let's go ahead and reload our site. And there you go. It's starting to come together. Now, this might not be the greatest thing that we can come up with, but again, the limit is your imagination. So If you wanted to change the image, you can go ahead and change that. If you wanted to change the font, you can go ahead and do that. If you wanted to add other things too, you can go ahead and do that. So once we have our basic Linktree type site here, if you wanted to, you can go ahead and add background images. So if I wanted to put on a background image, which is something like a feature that Linktree likes to provide its customers with, we can go ahead and simply add a container here. And let's go ahead and click on Flexbox and choose this one that has a down icon, down arrow on it, and then just drag everything into our container, right? It's going to be nested, right? Once we click onto our document overview, add a spacer. Basically every single thing, we're going to drag and drop that into here with the spacers, social icons, right? And our container, we can go under, well, style, and we can add a background color to all of these, and you can see that it's going to be very different. Alternatively, we can use, well, this one's a gradient, right? We can use an image, a background image, if you wanted a cool background to your one-page site. So let's go ahead and look for an image that's a bit large, just so that it can cover everything. Something a bit vertical. This one might be good for us. Let's see. There you go. Let's click on Save. Okay, with that done saving, let's go ahead and reload our site. And you can see that this is how it looks like with a background image. Now, it's not the prettiest, but it just goes to show that you don't have to use or worry about having just something so plain and simple. You can use whatever you want, a repeating background, or again, a gradient, right? Let's replace it with this. Let's change the colors to this one to this, and then this one to that. Okay, click on Save. And instead of that, we'll have a gradient, and it'll look a bit cooler. Okay, so again, let's go back to our desktop site, and this is our quote-unquote Linktree site with a bunch of links. And that's how it'll look like on mobile. And of course, you can always adjust all of the settings as you please. So hopefully this video gives some insight at the very least at what you can do with WordPress and Nextr, with how this whole website building thing works. And after this, you can go ahead and take a look at our other content and see how you can turn this from just a one-page link site to a full-on website where you have your about us or services, maybe even a contact form, and it'll all be centralized here, and you don't have to worry about using external services, third-party platforms for your needs, right? So if you wanted to have your customers or users and clients book an appointment with you, you can have it done through this. You can have them buy from your web store if you wanted to do it yourself. The possibilities are endless once you have your own website. So if you found this video helpful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, as it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. Show this kind of video to other nerds like us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, if you want to know where to get the blocks that we used in this video to make forms real simple, real easy, check out the link in the description. It'll take you to the website of Nextr, where you can get the Nextr blocks yourself. Now, if you check out the pricing, they have 3 different levels: starter, professional, and studio. We recommend getting the studio one because it's a one-time payment. It's lifetime. You get all the blocks, so you don't have to worry about not having the right blocks to get what you need done. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, if you found this video helpful, be sure to check out one of our other videos, or go ahead and check out our channel and subscribe to see more content like this.